Be live on YouTube. We'll be live on LinkedIn. And you guys can check out this webinar. I think the recording will be sent to you anyways, but you can also check it out on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't been on our YouTube channel, I encourage you to go on there and subscribe, because there's just tons of clips and content being dropped in there on a regular basis. That's, I think, useful for everybody to see. But so we'll jump in. Our company, myDevices, if you don't know us, we simplify sensor deployments, and that's, as simple as it comes. We, some of our largest customers are shown here on the screen. It's everything from government, like the U.S. Department of State, to facilities management, like with Sodexo and Aramark, carriers, Cisco, Honeywell, building automation, building management, Brightly, who does work ticketing, safety culture, who does inspection checklisting, all kinds of different segments that we're involved in. We're pretty horizontal in what we do. I really break it down into two things. Number one is acquisition of hardware. So we're a single source for our customers to procure and order hardware, but not just any hardware. It's pre-provisioned, pre-configured hardware, so plug and play sensors. So a lot of times, our customers have all kinds of different projects they're working on. Maybe they have air quality they're doing in one building, but they have temperature monitoring they need to do, or UV sensing, or energy monitoring. And rather than having to procure those from different manufacturers, they get everything, all in one place from us. So we pick, pack, and ship all of that out of our warehouse. And then on the other, secondarily, we are a single source of data acquisition as well. So we have what we call the Universal Sensor API. So that really acts as middleware that sits between all of these sensors and your platform. And when I say platform, it could be a work ticketing system, a building management system. It could be Power BI or Tableau for business intelligence. It could be some proprietary app. Could be really anything. But what we're seeing, the trend really is taking sensor data, whether it's existing sensors or deploying new sensors, and being able to extract that data and get it into the tools that are currently being used by an enterprise or by a small to medium business, because we know that sensors can enhance the way we do operations, but getting that data into those tools where we manage our operations is not always so straightforward. And we simplify that. We make it extremely easy. In fact, calls that we're on now, especially lately as demand has gone up, within an hour after we hang up on our calls, we have data flowing into whatever app or platform it needs to go to. And then we're, then starting to work through projects on how we get tactical and scale the business. So yeah, those are the two main things. I'll show a little bit of our sensor app as well. So this is the visualization tool. So all those different sensors that you see on our site, once they're shipped out, they come preloaded into this portal. And we white label this portal for our clients, so your logo colors and runs on your domain. But the purpose of this really is to have a single place to go to do device management, really, at the end of the day. If you're an enterprise or you're a systems integrator and you've got hundreds of clients, or a managed service provider or facility management company, right? You've got a bunch of locations. You can see, okay, here's all the locations where we have sensors deployed. And within this sensor, or within this location, here's all the different sensors that are in there. And we can see things like the historical data and how things are charted, and trends on the data and everything. But we've also got device settings, like changing how often the device sends readings, every 20 minutes, every 10 minutes. And you'll see that this settings section, this device settings section, is consistent, whether it's that MileSite device or this Advantech device, or it could be a device from Vutility, like this hot drop device down here. It's the same settings window. Each of the devices have different input settings, and that's unique to the template for that device. And that's just because of the use case that these devices have. They just need different user input. And somebody had mentioned in the chats before we started level monitoring, and it's a really unique one for us, and one that I actually enjoy showing, because when we look at our device settings capability for level monitoring, there are some intricacies around doing level monitoring. So this actually is probably a good segue into a value proposition of ours, because there's a lot of use cases for level monitoring. It could be in silos, it could be in chemical tanks, it could be in bins that are indoors, like in a warehouse. If you imagine like an assembly line at a distribution center, a manufacturing plant, you need to do level monitoring on the bins where the product is piling into, because when that gets full, it needs to be removed and replaced. Could be on trash cans. There's all kinds of different use cases for it. But a level sensor is just a level sensor. If you go and hook it up, the data you're going to receive from that is just going to be some distance measurements or some analog 420 milliamp value. But there's not a lot of meaning to that or business logic behind it. And that's where our sensor app comes in, where we can actually go and say, hey, we're going to be doing level measurement with this device, and I need the readings to come in every 15 minutes. And the type of level monitoring we're going to be doing is, we need it to be measured in meters, and it's going on a vertical or maybe a horizontal tank, let's say vertical, and the tank is cylindrical. Now, all of this is important because while the sensor is sending some analog value with this user input, that analog value is now manipulated and turned into 30% full or 40% full or whatever it is. So there's actual value, business value to that sensor now. So we've taken it, we've enriched it within our middleware, we've set the appropriate configuration parameters, like how often it's sending data. And now that we have what we need, and maybe it's validated on a dashboard, we open up our dashboard and we say, okay, this is working. I see the level monitoring, it's accurate, it's getting me what I need. Okay, now I want to feed that into the building maintenance platform so that the engineers are, asked to go empty the bin when it's full. So we go in and we open up a webhook, let's say, we port the data to the URL where it needs to go, but the data coming in is not just some, bricked analog value from the sensor. It's 73% full, or it's whatever it's been configured to do through this configuration portal. So, and that's me showing you, how this tool works on a very small scale. What we license out to you is that configuration app, as well as this backend console with, your full device registry, and device templates and bulk provisioning capabilities. Like you see bulk actions up here. This is the ability to add 1,000 level sensors, all with different set parameters and different types of tanks and heights and all of that simultaneously, and then do bulk integrations as well, feeding all of that data into that app. So that's really how we kind of scale our deployments, is by doing, by combining these tools that we have that make it possible to, really commoditize the way sensors get deployed. Because at the end of the day, the industry for a long time has been stuck in the minutia of how things work and where the data goes and how to decode it, and the LoRa servers and the cellular activity and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, when you get down to the use cases and the end customers, they just want data. But what they don't want is data that they have to learn how to manipulate and do. What they want: how full is my tank? And when it's too full, I need to send somebody out to go get it. Or they want remote visibility to their building management systems, or they want air quality data summarized in a report with actionable meanings attached to it. Or, hey, if 20 people have gone in the bathroom, send somebody to go clean it. That's the type of analytics they're looking for. And our tool, as middleware between the sensors, it's not just a pass through, it's enriching it and then passing it through to create value. So all of these software platforms that we've integrated with are now arguably 10x, 20x more valuable, because we're able to make them enriched with sensor data. And from an efficiency standpoint, we become that single pipe that data feeds into your platform, so that all of these sensors are now compatible with it. And a lot of times what we're seeing now with our long-lasting partnerships is, vertical solution providers or sensor manufacturers going to our customers and pitching their sensors on them, but our customers are sending them back to us saying, hey, you've got to get integrated into myDevices ecosystem. And that's because at the scale of deployment our customers have, they don't want to be doing one-off integrations with sensors. They just want everything to feed through the pipe that's already been built and that they've already understood how to navigate and collect data from. And that's really our core value prop is, and it's, again, as I said in the beginning, there's some logistics to it. There's, going to one vendor to order any sensor, that's nice, but it's the software tools in the middle that make all of the data valuable and streamline the integration and standardize the message format across any device on any protocol that really makes it valuable for our clients, so that they can focus on deploying their solutions to their customers, that they're good at. And they just know that sensors are going to work and be a part of it because we're, behind the scenes making all that happen. And then we've got 50,000 installers, and we drop ship to end customer locations. So we do, the 3PL and sort of fulfillment services in the background as well, which really glues everything together and makes it a holistic solution. So hopefully all of that's clear for everybody, and hopefully that level use case is helpful to see for those of you that were asking about it. And yeah, we can get into smart buildings as well, Mark. So yeah, let's do that. And then I'm reading from Carlos, what options you have in case I have a request from a customer. Yeah, so that's great. So maybe just high level, general, just kind of get an idea of what we have available, so you know how to respond if you do have a project incoming. With smart building solutions, that's another popular vertical, I guess, but it's kind of ambiguous, right? It's kind of broad. A smart building could be a school, it could be an office, it could be an arena, and those are all very different applications. Schools, for example, are very interested in sound detection and vape detection inside. They want to know if students are vaping in the bathroom. They want to know if there's bullying going on. There's gunshot detection solutions and things like that for schools. Leak detection is another one that's been very significant for us. There's insurance companies involved now offering discounted premiums if the buildings are protected from leaks, and there's a strategic way they have to be deployed to make sure they're accurate and things like that. Air quality, ever since COVID, has been very front of mind for a lot of people, tracking CO2 levels to make sure that ventilation is working properly. There's some really interesting, MileSight has some really interesting devices like this time of flight 3D people counter sensor, completely anonymous, but traditional people counters that use infrared or beams have always had that sort of inaccuracy that's just implied about them. Like, hey, if two people are walking shoulder to shoulder into a walkway and you've got a people counter, well, it's going to count that as one. And that's accepted. And at the price point that you can get those devices, sure, that's fine. But in critical areas or casinos, airports, where there's wide entryways and you really want to get strong data about who's coming in and out, but the traffic flow isn't always consistent, a sensor like this is something that goes really solves for that use case. Trash bin sensors doing fill level, we had talked about that earlier. A lot of our smart building, or really any deployment right now, there's a lot of energy monitoring at the forefront of that. And I talk about this probably on every call. The hot drop device, that's a clip-on energy submeter, can tell you exactly how much energy an asset's using. And then there's larger CTs that can do larger buildings and larger infrastructure. There's also the volt drop, which is the sister to the hot drop, which actually can give you don't see it on here just yet, but it's a 3-phase, coming soon device, a 3-phase current meter for revenue grade. A lot of municipalities are looking at that, like housing authorities that actually want to sub-meter up their buildings and see how much energy and electricity is being used and rebill their tenants for that utilization. So there's so much here. Another thing with buildings is a lot of times we run into building management platforms that exist that are legacy, and maybe they have Modbus output, so we can pull out Modbus data through an RS-485 device. Maybe they have a BACnet system. We've got gateways that can pull out BACnet data. So there's retrofits that happen as well. Those legacy systems, they want remote access and control. We can act as middleware that sits between an existing building management system and a work ticketing platform, for example. So work orders can be created within a CMMS platform based off of events happening from the building management system. So we sit in the middle there to connect those two things up. Asset tracking, so just, really it's endless. Differential pressure is a big one on HVACs, and in clean rooms and dirty rooms inside of hospitals. So yeah, there's so many use cases here. So I'll open it up. That's hopefully the purpose of this webinar is really just for me to kind of go through and navigate trends and things that are going on, but really introduce you at a high level to our company, as well as all the different sensors and solutions that we have to offer. I'll open it up for questions for anybody that has any that at this time, after seeing what you've seen, if you guys would like to see more on this webinar, feel free to ask the questions, or if you'd like a one-on-one call, I'll send out a link in the chat, and you can schedule time. In fact, let me get that prepared while you guys type in any questions that you have. I believe this is my link for this. Yeah. So I'll put that in the chat. If you go to mydevices.com/cam, That is a link to, oh, it's not active. Okay, ignore that. I will just throw in my direct Calendly link here. So click that link, guys, in the chat. Oh, you know what? That's only going to, man, lots of mistakes today. That only went to panelists. Okay, now it's in the chat. Everybody should see it now in the chat. That's my Calendly link if you want a one-on-one call to talk about your project or to ask more specific questions on any of the sensors or solutions that we have to offer. But yeah, feel free to throw questions in the chat. I'll keep my eye on it. Let me look at the Q&A just in case. If not, yeah, hopefully this introduction was helpful for everybody out there. You know, I had mentioned our YouTube channel, just show you what that looks like as well. You check out our video section, just tons of content on here showing, you know, how the dashboards work, how different solutions work, deployment strategies, installation capabilities, you know, just kind of on and on. There's even shorts in here. You know, these are just like 30-second bits. And if you kind of just rip through them, you get some really good context on the types of deployments that we're doing and types of services that we offer. So yeah, I encourage everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also follow me on LinkedIn. There's updates on there as well. But yeah, if there's no questions in the chat, then we can wrap. Usually try to run these about 15 minutes or so, just as a quick intro, but the link is in the chat if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one call. But otherwise, I hope everybody has an awesome week, and feel free to reach out with any questions or visit us on our website to learn more. So thanks everybody for your time, and we'll